Good evening, everybody. How you guys all doing? Welcome.
Hello.
Right. Hello, hello. How we all
Hello.
doing? How you doing, Dina?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
great. I mean,
good.
I'm good. People over in West Bank are not good. So I've had a weird
True.
day today. Like it's been
What
emotional.
happened?
I don't
What?
know. It's just been emotional. Like just
Fair
seeing some
enough.
of the scenes coming out of Palestine. I have been able to keep it together
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. But today I just saw a video that
That made it less easy.
I couldn't keep it together. Yeah, it's there's some weird vibes happening right now for me. I know it sounds dumb, but I feel like something's gonna happen, and I don't know. It's not a good feeling.
That's
My
not good.
spidey senses are tingling, and it's
Not in a
not going to
good
be
way.
like a natural thing. It's going to be something that, yeah,
I know there's a fair amount of tension that I think we've all sort of collectively felt has been going in a certain direction for
yeah,
11 months, and as we progressed, it's been coming more and more uh, possible. Um, but it's an eventual sort of view of this is going to get much worse.
yeah. It's going to get way worse before it gets better.
Yeah, and we're starting to feel. I think
We're feeling
I
it.
don't know about you, but I feel like I think we're getting closer to that point of where it's much worse.
We have a story that we're going to talk about, though, that gave me hope. So the one that
Mhm.
you sent to me that we're going to talk about later, um, I look forward to talking about it.
We're gonna get to it.
Yes, we
Um,
will.
and I do look. Yeah, I am looking forward to looking at that one too. But before we get to there, we were going to go to the sideshow. We're going to start off with the sideshow. So, do you know a Danny Boucher?
Oh, Danny, the guy who
Yeah,
drives crazy on his like new bike that he put a
he
squirrel
does.
and Willie number two on, and
He
like he filmed
did.
himself like
Well,
driving like
apparently, if you
really
do that
recklessly.
driving, apparently if you do that driving for a while, you end up crashing. And as
Who
Daisy,
saw that coming? I bet you he
I
wasn't wearing
know.
a helmet.
I don't know about the helmet because I haven't heard anything about a report about head injury. Then again, sometimes that shows up later. But Daisy reported that Danny Boucher, aka Flag Ninja, I'm not sure if that's a self-appointed nickname, but who knows, has been raising awareness and supporting others in Ottawa for over 2 years. So the sales pitch has already started.
How? How, Daisy? How has he supported anything in 2 years? What has he
I
done?
by showing up every day.
How? Yeah.
By showing up every
How?
day. Following a recent e-bike accident that injured his knee
There are no accidents.
and broke his collarbone, he now needs our help. All right. Please keep Danny in your prayers. If you're able, you can give below to help Danny get through his recovery. Together, we win. No one left behind. He drove like an idiot and crashed his bike and injured his knee. I'm not sure what the damage to the knee
I
is.
don't
If
think
it's
he
straight.
crashed his bike because his bike is undamaged. I
Oh,
feel
that's
like
right. The bike is
I
on. Oh, yeah. I think I
yeah,
said.
so yeah, like he probably like spun too fast or something, like tried to take a corner too fast and like or hit a rock and like flew like projectile off of it. I don't know.
Yeah. So according to the Give Send Go, Danny is a Wellington Street regular. So somehow that's important.
Oh, it says he crashed his e-bike.
With
Okay.
almost 1,000 days on the hill.
Wow. What an accomplishment. That's worthy of what?
I'm not sure, but I'm not sure the math is 2022,
Yeah,
2023,
it's at
maybe.
700. Oh, yeah,
Maybe 700.
720. And then that's 2 years is 730
All right, that's a
actually.
big roundup. Okay, fine. On the hill protesting against the lies and the corruption. He crashed his bike recently, resulting in knee injury and broken collarbone. I like how it's very vague about the knee injury. He will take at least 2 months to heal. I can see that particular collarbone break. The bike
8
been
weeks.
damaged. That's good because that's the important part.
Like nobody cared about the bike up until this point, until you brought it up. But clearly,
Not
that's
gonna
what you
lie,
were thinking
I cared
about.
about the bike. I cared about the bike more.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
he is
mean,
a self-employed Finnish carpenter, and will be able to resume work after his injuries heal. Until then, this fund is to help with his expenses during his recovery.
Okay.
So it is.
Good luck.
You drove like an idiot. We've seen you drive. I've seen you drive a truck firsthand. You see it in the opening video.
Right,
here,
yeah,
as he's driving
right?
it towards me.
Yeah.
I've seen you.
Yeah, you can't do that on an e-bike. You can't drive like that on a e-bike. I mean, if you're experienced.
Let's be honest here. And I saw another version of that particular post. Like, we must all pray for Danny for his recovery. I'm like, broke his collarbone. He's not like in critical condition. Like manage the response here.
He definitely can't work.
No, that's totally. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm like, as in like, yes, he can't work. Yes, I understand the Gibbs and go because he's not gonna be able to do much because a collarbone break is one of the worst ones because you can't splint it. It's kind of like a broken rib. You can't splint. You can't do anything. It really, really sucks.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit longer. Short of surgery to put a screw into it, that's it. So I give you that. But I'm like, it's just some of the tones of some of the messaging I saw. I'm like, he's not dying, guys. Like
no, but I'm sure
relax.
He's in a lot of pain.
More than likely.
I don't know. You guys just touch your collarbone hard, and you're just like, "Ow, that hurts!" And all you just did was touch it. Imagine breaking this bone.
I'm so once he's out of the hospital, which I'm assuming is already because the hospital's trying not to keep you in there as long as possible. Bet you he's going to be recovering on Wellington Street.
Do you think? Oh yeah, probably. You're probably right.
Do you think?
I know. What have I said?
What did you say? What were you thinking? How? Come on.
Funny. He's not going to be in a bed. I just picture, like I told you today, I just picture him like in a body cast in the bed with like the leg up in the chain and. But it's just.
I really need to get the whole AI software going a little bit more, so I can start doing some of that shit where we could just have him like a full body cast,
exactly,
and everybody around him crying. It'd be awesome. I think it'd be good.
I heard he was trying to pull a wheelie on it. Okay. He was trying to do a papa wheelie. That makes sense. I've seen people fly off of motorcycles and the motorcycle is just fine after they're like, but yeah. Someone helping him smoke. Anyhow, okay.
All right, so moving on. So
Danny.
That's poor Danny. Again, not mocking him for the broken collarbone. That part is like that sucks.
That sucks a whole lot.
Injured knee. I got an injured knee back in.
But he punched himself out.
He did. Like I said, the injuries themselves suck. I don't know, like broken collarbone. I know of it. I never had it. It sucks because you can't brace it correctly. Injured knee. That's a whole. I don't know what exactly you mean by that. I've got an injured knee that's permanent. It's a torn meniscus. You can improve it, but it'll never be fully healed because it's just the way cartilage works. If you got one of those, that definitely sucks. I feel bad. Just get some physio, though. You should be good. And if you're lucky, you should be good, to be clear. If not, then I'm sorry about that.
I don't even care. I don't care. Sorry, Danny. I don't give a fuck about you.
There you go.
I don't give a fuck about you.
The musical interlude. So now we move on from Danny Crash to Capital Pride. So, as some of you guys may have found out,
oh my god,
I was actually in Capital Pride this year. And this particular case, I joined Queer for Palestine's in
Queers for
driving.
Palestine, not queer for Palestines. You did it again.
No, I
You meant
said Queers for Palestine.
no, you didn't. You'll look back at this and you'll be like, ah, shit. Yeah, you totally said queer for Palestines. Totally. He meant
Not
queers
buying
for
it.
Palestine.
Queers for
Wait till
Palestine.
I'm cutting it. I'm going to bloop it.
So this is the vehicle I was driving, and it was quite an epic event.
Yeah.
So Deana was live streaming and caught a little bit about it. There was a large buildup. If you go take a look in regards to my photos of that particular day, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
There was a lot of views. You can see me in this particular view. You can't quite see me except for a little bit in there. But there's myself. There's a passenger that's joined me, and in the back seat there is a little Camilla with a megaphone, which is always entertaining.
She told me. Oh my God. And then I was trying to find footage of it because I need that in my life. And I saw somebody put up the footage of the parade, but in speed. And then I just see Camilla and a megaphone out of the car. And I'm like, and apparently Camilla was chanting.
Oh, she was. She was
and
chanting a lot.
No, but the thing that she chanted was, if you stand with Palestine, let me hear some noise. Or
She
something
did.
like
She
that.
did. I
And then
didn't
people
get
would
a
be
chance
like,
to.
"Wah!" Yeah.
I didn't get
Oh
a
my
chance to
God.
set up the camera. I should have set up the camera and at least get it towards the back seat but yeah, she was chanting hard, and
Yeah.
every time we get to a certain point, she would come out and just like a DJ or somewhere is like, stand for Palestine, make some noise, and you just hear the crowd just roar. I'm like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
absolutely awesome.
She's a natural. She's a natural.
She
Yeah.
absolutely is. Oh, you
And
definitely would have been proud to watch
when
it.
we
Like
got
that
to
was
the
just machine.
yeah, super proud. And I found out at the Palestinian barbecue because I went to that after. And then
Mhm.
one of the people that was there, he was selling stuff his wife made to raise money for Palestine. And he said, he came right up to her and he goes, I want to thank you for letting me chant in the microphone, because she would give it to him and then he would do a
Yes.
chant and then give it back. So yeah, she's like, which is what I did at the Palestinian protests. When I first had my megaphone, I would chant and then I'd see somebody leading a chant and I'm like, here you go. And they would lead the chant. I love that whole metaphor of that megaphone just going to different voices chanting for Palestine until
It
my
did. It
megaphone broke.
went all around. The megaphone went to quite a few people, and
Yeah.
again, she was an absolute machine in regards to just getting the doing the chants and getting the megaphone out. It was
Oh, keep
It
it
was-
there. Keep that picture. Guys,
yes, absolutely.
that
Mhm.
Tinkerbell. You see the Tinkerbell on the side? My niece did that. I'm so very
Mm.
proud of her.
There's a better view of it for you.
Somebody
So-
somebody added the cafe though, which was a freaking phenomenal idea, but my
Yep.
niece did that.
So one of the biggest things I have to say is there was an impressive amount of art here.
Yeah.
Aside from all
I
the
did
writing
that
and
one.
everything else. Yeah.
TOH
There
and
is-
Shio were mine.
And the funny thing is, as I'm looking at some of this stuff and I'm actually thinking about this, I'm like, you know what? Next year, if we're doing this again next year, I've got a whole bunch of ways to up the game
Yeah.
to make this even better and easier. So, Chris from Palestine and I, hopefully we can have a conversation and make things better, or at least easier for all of us, and bigger and louder. But yeah, the artwork is phenomenal. And again, this is absolutely fantastic, as you saw.
Wait
in the
till you
truck.
see, if you guys didn't come, wait till you see the rest of the artwork. Do you have
Yeah.
pictures of it?
You mean this?
Yes. Guys, I saw that from start to finish. Look how big that is. There's people's feet
Yeah.
behind there, okay? It's like
To
16
give
feet.
you, yeah. No, it's not 6 feet. I'm 6 feet.
16.
This thing's
16.
16 feet wide.
Yes.
Yeah, and about 7 to 8 feet tall. This thing was
Yeah.
massive. It was impressive. It was absolutely phenomenal, and the artwork on it is absolutely gorgeous. There's an Instagram account. If you guys are interested to find out, DM me
Did you
on any
guys?
of the platforms, and it shows the construction of this particular thing, and it's absolutely phenomenal. This particular thing, this artwork was done at Kind Spaces.
Yeah.
It took them about a week to do all this and to understand.
I would
With
say
all this
more than a week because a few
and
of them
this.
pulled some all-nighters, just so you guys know. Like,
Oh,
there were
absolutely.
all-nighters that happened for this thing, and
Mhm.
look how amazing it is. Like,
It's absolutely phenomenal. They did these they did the two sides in just on the canvas itself.
yeah,
And on the day of our friend, we watched them construct the entire framework because
yeah.
our friend was with me and I was helping them out as they constructed the entire framework for all the signs being held up on the
I
back
gave
of
I
the
gave
truck.
them props yesterday on the phone.
Oh,
I was like, "That was so damn impressive." Like,
they
holy crap.
did. They did a phenomenal job to do this. And then they built this structure on the day of. And I remember because the day before we went to the hardware store and went through and picked up all their equipment and everything else we were going to need for that thing. And they constructed this entire framework in pretty much, let's say, I think we got there by 10
4
o'clock,
hours
11,
probably.
12.
3
Yeah, so 4 hours, about 3 to 4 hours.
3,
And
about
they
3,
even had
yeah.
a technical problem with it where they had to redo some part of it and got the entire thing done. I'm like, that's just absolutely impressive.
It's on
So
wheels.
it is absolutely on wheels. It was rolled around and it was rolled around and it was impressive. And we even discussed because I remember we were discussing some of the issues and looking on hindsight, I'm like, there's probably some ways we could have improved it, probably by adding 2 more wheels to the center. And that's kind of more of a learning thing. I was like, all right, if we ever do this again, that's something we'll do.
I love it.
But aside from the structure and possibly some issues to it, it's beautiful artwork. There is no notes for that. That's just
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous. And it's a great.
I want a
information for
print
everybody.
of it.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised.
I would put that in my house.
Absolutely. So the great thing about this is I know the canvas is still alive. The structure is gone, and both in the back of the truck and that thing. That the structure of that is gone, but the canvas is still there, and it's still going to be used for other things.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic idea if that canvas gets turned into a print of some sort that could be used for people to print.
Yep.
Maybe for
Yeah.
fundraising. I'd buy it.
Yeah, it was
Mhm.
great. And if you guys watched my live stream of that day, in about, I don't know, 20 minutes, I would say, to get a few people to march with us at the end of the parade to be part of a protest, because Pride is a protest. And then those people started bringing out other people. And then they came up with a chant, "Join the parade, join the parade." And they're all chanting, and then people start coming in. And like,
People
yeah,
get creative.
it was
So
really organic and amazing, and should always be that way, in my opinion. At the end, when the last float goes, if people want to march with them. And it was perfect because it led everybody to Pride Town, where all the shops were and stuff.
that's true.
So I
So
think that is a very natural way of bringing everybody out to the. Anyway, those are my
So one of
thoughts.
the images I'm missing here is a tweet from Stuart Benson, also known as Left Hand Stew, his
Yeah.
video about the show. And one of the things while he was reporting is he remarked the largest float in the largest section of the Pride Parade was the Palestinian March, and
Yep.
I'll even show his video here to demonstrate that. So here.
That banner is a showstopper, I'm telling you.
It is. But
Here we
the
go.
Palestinian goes down for a large room. Like it's incredible how far down it goes. And I'm also not afraid to say that it is if you're ever going to be in a parade, driving the SUV with air conditioning is probably the funnest thing to do.
Yeah,
The entire parade process. Just throwing that out there.
it was hot.
It was hot. Well, yeah, for you guys.
It was hot for me.
I did get sun, which is, as you can
Oh
see.
dear. Awesome.
You say awesome. The problem is that I've got an event where I'm not going to be wearing a bandana this weekend
Oh,
too.
this weekend?
Yes.
Pull out the makeup.
I don't know about makeup, but
Just
yeah,
do that little strip there. Oh no. Sorry, bro.
Oh no, I'm gonna be
I know.
shortening the rest of it there.
Mind.
So it's just yeah, forget it. I'm just gonna look like a dork. So
Hilarious.
whoever's with me, as I can, is going to have to deal with being with a dork.
Go in black block.
There we go. I'll go in black block. Yeah, nobody will notice. Bronzer, probably. So continue on. So again, that was absolutely fantastic. It was a fantastic, strong turnout, especially with everything going on there.
It was amazing.
In regards to the pushback, it was absolutely fantastic. There was a huge contingency for Pride. As the driver in the vehicle, it also gave me, aside from trying to pay attention to everything, I also was able to kind of pay attention to the crowd because I'm in the vehicle looking forward. And aside from the fact I saw something else, which we're going to discuss a little bit later, I saw a lot of cafeas in the crowd on both sides.
Right. I talked to a lot of people in the crowd trying to get them out. So
yeah, there was a lot of people there for supporting. So it was absolutely fantastic and just heartwarming to see so much support that was there for Palestine. But it's, again, all sorts of different things I wanted to sort of discuss here in regards to great sort of demonstrations. For example, City of Ottawa chose not to come out, but we got 5 councillors that did.
Yeah.
Come out to support Pride, including a councillor that's identifies as Jewish and queer and says, "Yeah, I'm totally for a ceasefire and for Palestine."
Yeah.
And they jumped onto their float and were excuse me, and were able to join into the parade, as well as even though Liberal Party of both Ontario and of Canada weren't joining out, Joel Harden and the NDP of Ontario, they absolutely joined into Pride Parade supporting. Now, for those who don't know, Joel Harden will also wear keffiyeh in the Ontario legislature.
Yeah.
And
he's come to the Palestinian protests as well.
He has, absolutely, yes. So we've talked to him a couple of times there too, as well as a couple others. So it is, and again, it doesn't end there. We've also got Faculty for Palestine. Even though Ottawa U said no, the faculty still decided to join in. So Queer Faculty for Palestine, as well as Faculty for Palestine, all joined in. As well as we know some of the queer students were in ours or everywhere else. So it is clear that even though a lot of these organizations backed up because they thought there was hate messaging, the staff for these organizations no, it's not. And
they didn't think it was hate messaging. They're trying to tell us that it's hate messaging so that we can think it's hate messaging. This is their fucking propaganda so that they can continue on with this disgusting genocide enabling and complicity. They don't think that it's anti-Semitic. They are pushing that bullshit.
Yeah, no, absolutely agreed. So, and again, their messaging was that it's going to be dangerous for Jewish people to be there, which I disagreed, considering I had a conversation with at least one person from the Independent Jewish Voices that were marching in the parade in solidarity.
We spoke to quite a few people who are Jewish. We are friends. We are regularly,
as I said, Ariel Trosser, identifies as Jewish. Independent Jewish Voices marched in the parade. One of the people with Queers for Palestine.
Yes, correct.
There's many Jewish people there that were there, and I listen to them to ask them, like, do you feel anything?
Oh, no, I don't even have to ask them because they've been with the Palestinians since day one. Since day one. They didn't need to be convinced. They didn't need to whatever. They
Nope.
knew since day one. I don't need to ask them if they feel safe or not. They fucking come to the Palestinian protests.
I want
Like,
to keep my ear open if we, because again, this could always go something, because again, I want to hear from them if they feel there's something anti-Semitic. Because again, if we miss something, let them tell us. They haven't to this day, because that's not
what
what the
do we
message is
have
about.
to
And we
do
don't.
with something that's anti-Semitic? What do you mean? I don't understand what you're talking about. What do
I
we have
said,
to do with anything that's anti-Semitic?
what I'm saying is, if there's ever messaging that's coming out from
From who?
anybody that's from anything from the movements that could be
Okay.
considered
Well, we would
anti-Semitic,
know that it's anti-Semitic because we are against anti-Semitism
and therefore it's always good to always ask the communities if we're upsetting them, if we get something wrong. Once in a while, we
So
could
you
do that.
asked the community if they were upset with Pride's statement? I don't know what you mean.
My point is, they were not. So
They're right. They weren't.
that's kind of the point. They were not upset with the statement, and that's my point. Is
They
as
were
long as we're checking.
leaders in writing to Pride so that they would take a stand, actually, to be quite frank.
Absolutely.
50 queer organizations or queer-led organizations have written to Pride, according to Emily. I don't know if you'd got that clip. We should have played it. She's friggin' phenomenal. If you guys haven't seen Emily on CBC News, Emily Quayle,
Did not get that
she
prepared.
fucking nails it. The whole thing nails it. And right. Anyway,
Let me see here.
she's like,
I may be able to bring
fire.
that up.
Oh, I
but
hope you
it'll
can.
be- I could. It's going to take me a minute here.
Okay. Yeah, I should have put that on the agenda. Like said, we need to watch this. So good. I want everybody to see it.
It wasn't CBC. I think it was CTV, right?
No, it was CBC. We remember where we got it. Remember where she sent us the link. I even posted it on Twitter. Guys, this is worth the wait, I'm telling you.
And I'm just going to go to you on Twitter. This might take me a minute.
I put her name in Quaile.
Give me a second here.
Hope you found it. I don't want to misquote it. That's why it's good for you guys to hear this. But she spoke. The reporter was asking her questions that were questions that were basically things flying around. Rumors that she put to rest. Or little predictions that she was able to put to rest. Did you find it?
I think I did. Give me a second here. This takes a minute for me to.
Oh, I see it. That's the one.
That is the one. I just need to make sure I get that all into order.
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No.
Sorry about that. Let me see if I can.
Okay. While Joe is figuring it out.
Yeah,
Did you get it?
give me one moment here. This won't take long.
Are you just downloading it?
No. You know what? I might just do that.
Excuse me. Yeah, I think that's always fastest.
It might be.
It's not that long, is it?
No.
Yeah. I'm hearing from a lot of people that Pride was the best one they attended. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Last year, I think it felt sort of different without these corporations, Fairweather ally corporations that are just doing it for, like, they totally told on themselves what people were
They
saying
did.
all this time.
Well, they did, and especially since like you and I came from a particular event where in Montreal where it was sort of fair weather. Like
Yeah.
it's the Montreal, instead of going with in regards to trying to support and protect their allies, decided no, we're gonna go with police instead
Yeah.
because So here's Emily's message. So here we go.
Okay, guys. Thanks for waiting. It's worth it.
Deana's fault.
Ottawa's annual Pride Parade takes place this weekend, but this year's festival is happening amid a wave of controversy surrounding the event's organizer, Capital Pride. Now, Capital Pride released a statement in solidarity with Palestinians. The statement caused several prominent figures and organizations to boycott the event, including Ottawa Mayor Mark Sutcliffe and the Liberal Party of Canada and various school boards. Emily Quayle is a member of the grassroots organization Community Solidarity Ottawa, and she'll be attending this weekend's festivities. So, Emily, you've made the decision that you will attend. What do you make of the fact that so many others have decided that they won't?
I'm not surprised. And it's not just me attending and making the decision. We have a coalition of over 50 organizations, and mostly queer-led organizations at that, reaffirming our solidarity with Capital Pride. And we're really proud of what this statement says. And it's a great first step towards committing to Palestinian liberation. I'm so disappointed in what the mayor has said, and I'm especially disappointed in the heads of public institutions like schools and universities and hospitals who are not consulting their workers, most of whom are already organized in unions who have democratically voted to support Palestinian liberation. I think it's incredibly unfair that the discourse is being shifted to listen to a group of mostly cis, hetero, leaders of corporate institutions instead of the workers, the queer people, and the queer Palestinians and queer Jewish people who have been on the front lines of this movement.
You mentioned queer Jewish people, and that is a question I had. I'm wondering if you're hearing from members of the Jewish community who might want to attend the festivities, and do they feel like they can, given the statement of support that's been issued?
The queer Jewish people that have been organizing against transphobic hate and against the genocide are confused as to why there's backlash citing a fear of safety. We are all really clear that the primary threat to the queer community and the Jewish community is the same. It's far-right white nationalists. They are the ones who disrupted our events. They're the ones who are painting awful things that are all over our city. And we are very well aware of that. And how we combat that is through solidarity, not through boycotting Capital Pride and singling out one identity from another. No, we're all human. We're all together. We all deserve rights, and solidarity is key to that struggle.
You're certainly speaking with a lot of confidence that there's a lot of support for this statement that's been put out. The counter argument against statements like Capital Pride's would be, I think, that they cause maybe further division rather than fostering the inclusivity. How do you respond to that? Do you see further division? It sounds to me like you don't, but do you acknowledge that there might be some?
I'm not really sure where that division is coming from. I think that I find it interesting that the fear of safety and divisive comments are not really specified, especially when the statement itself strongly condemns anti-Semitism and all hatred in all its forms. I'm not sure where they're getting divisiveness, especially when they're the ones pulling out and boycotting Pride. I also think that it's really important to remember that the people who are speaking have not consulted the workers in their workplaces. These are administrations of institutions. They are not democratically elected people, aside from Mayor Sutcliffe, of course, but we know that he's a right-wing politician. And here's the thing at the end of the day, like, most queer people understand that there was a conditional solidarity from banks, police officers, right-wing politicians of really any stripe. And we knew that someday they would probably pull their support. But we will stand strong because our rights should not depend on fair weather liberal politicians or conservative politicians, for that matter.
Emily, one question that I had here is that when it's a movement like Pride, one that is, I think, arguably extremely successful, what would you say to somebody who might say, this is not what I thought Pride was about, and that by potentially introducing another political issue, you take away from the focus of what I think others might think Pride is supposed to be about? What would you say to them?
I think we should remember really strongly that rights aren't won, and our queer rights were not run by having peaceful protests that compromised with the institutions that are out to undermine our rights. Pride started as a riot. Pride was led by queer, trans, women of color, and they understood that the struggle is international and that none of us are free until all of us are free. And those are the principles of solidarity that have grown Pride movement, that have allowed us to win rights. It is through solidarity, not through divisiveness and saying that some people's rights shouldn't be discussed at this opportune moment. We wholeheartedly reject that. And I just look to history, and history is extremely clear on this, that we win through solidarity and not through mayors boycotting a Pride parade.
Emily, thank you for joining us. That's Emily Quayle, a member of Community Solidarity Ottawa. Good to speak with you.
Thank you.
She's fire.
She is.
Nailed it.
Absolutely.
Nailed it.
Absolutely.
All of it.
She is absolutely right. I mean, there's I don't think, no notes for to begin with.
None.
None.
That was like
she is just to underscore one particular point, which is, is like, well, your Pride parade now is a failure because these places backed out. The first fucking Pride was a goddamn riot in the United States at Stonewall riots, and after that in Canada with the bathhouse riots in Toronto.
Yeah.
These were not corporate sponsored. Quite the opposite.
It's
the
so
success and the acceptance of the movement after that had corporate jumping all over it to try to profit from it because it made them look better. Pride does not need them. They need Pride.
That's exactly it. And it's so weird that the question and the reporters asking a question that of a statement that was made so many times it made me fucking ill was Pride shouldn't get political. And it's like, do you know anything about Pride? Like, how can you say it shouldn't get Pride is political? Who's sitting there at going to fucking rallies or whatever you want to call it, because there's no goddamn election, and talking about pretty much stripping people of their rights because they are trans? Like,
Absolutely.
It is 100% political. Pride is political.
Yep.
Gay rights, that's political. BLM,
yeah,
that's political.
Rights.
Like there's intersectionality, and Pride always recognizes the intersectionalities through their parade. Like they have a different marshal every year that represents a different group within the group. Like
Last year, they acknowledged trans rights as having Faye Johnstone.
the year
This
before
year,
was BLM,
year
was
before
Black Lives
BLM.
Matter.
This
This
year
year
was
had the Indigenous Haley
absolutely.
Robinson was leading
Mhm.
the
Yeah, absolutely. And they acknowledged the entire Palestine movement. So it
yeah.
is always been political. There's always a political messaging into it. And if you think, Pride isn't political, then it's like thinking half your sci-fi shows aren't woke. You're not paying attention. You've
Yeah.
never been listening.
Yeah,
Ever.
you're not listening exactly. Point
So
right over your head.
so and again, we're gonna go back to the whole, people aren't feeling safe with anti-Semitism. They, if you're Jewish, you can't go to Pride. If you're a Zionist, you can't go to Pride. Problem is,
We would rather the Zionists didn't go to Pride, but
they were there.
some of us predicted they'd be there anyway,
You
and
did.
they were there.
You did. You were incorrect about the numbers, but you were correct about them being there. In fact,
Yeah.
they were there. I remember viewing this individual, not specifically the individual, but the flag from the truck, and I could see them.
What was he hoping he was going to accomplish? I don't know. Try to upset
sure.
people? I don't know.
Not sure. They were a fair ways ahead, and I recall that. And I saw the flag, and I'm like, and I don't understand to this day as to why I didn't take a photograph of it. But anyways, somebody else got a good shot of it. And as I said in a tweet when I posted this particular thing, the irony of this flag in the Pride Parade, right beside the Human Rights Monument, is not lost on me, at least. It is absolutely an insane photo, and the timing of it is just crazy.
Everyone's standing 6 feet away from him.
Yeah. They are perfectly fine.
And then you see the Palestinian group, and they're all like really close together, and it's really huge.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The Israeli flag, but the point for me is the Israeli flag holding person, who may or may not be Jewish, I don't know.
We need to do a side by side. Somebody needs to do that.
Oh, I'm sure somebody can do this.
Israeli flag, and then like the
flag.
the Queers for Palestine and the Palestinian.
You can't properly capture the entire Palestinian because again, we have the massive float.
You can't properly, but you're still making the point.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You got the one flag guy. You got the entire video from Stu, who shows the entire size of the flag, and you can't capture the people in the crowd that are waving flags. We had people in wearing keffiyehs. I remember at one point, one person that would jumped up on top of one of the bus shelters, waving a flag on top. It was nuts. It was insane. It was fabulous. It was absolutely fantastic. But again, my point in regards to this particular image is they were fine.
There.
I heard no reports of them being harmed or anything coming to them.
Yep.
This fear mongering that was occurring before Pride, where these people were being, outed at genocide, and as a lot of Zionists were saying, because this is why a lot of these organizations pulled out. If that was the case, this person would not have been able to march to the Pride, but they did.
No Zionists were hurt in the making of this picture,
or after,
or before.
They were perfectly safe,
right?
But even still, some of the Zionists didn't feel safe, so they decided to run off and make.
Oh, tell me. Okay.
But yeah, again, sorry. Before we get there, again, but that Zionist was not representing all Jews because, again, we've had Jewish people, as I said. We're on the other side of the issue.
Putting the T-shirt on a piece of cardboard or something and holding it up. Yeah. That's a great idea.
I just like the messaging of Jews for free Palestine. But again, Zionists.
There's a few of them that wear that shirt at the Palestinian rallies. I always got them on the live streams.
Yeah, they're absolutely. It's and we can go on and on in regards to anti-Semitism versus anti-Zionism. If you want to know about that, just go follow my tweets. I've been doing a whole thing about that this week. But going on, Zionists decided to make their own Pride because they didn't like the Capital Pride. So they had a big party.
Yeah.
I think they had a few people in the basement.
They're all old.
I
Very
believe that's Munter and Neely and a few others, and they had a Pride Israeli flag.
That's Alex Munter now?
I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't
I could be wrong.
think that's
I could be
him.
wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah, I thought that might be Munter, but it may not be. But that's definitely Neely.
I don't.
So they had their own Pride parade or Pride event in a basement somewhere, hiding,
So synagogue probably.
possibly. But again, if this is what they want to do because they feel it's better for them, then by all means. Again, they could have joined the parade as the Israeli flag showed. They chose not to.
So that's how many people missed out from her end on the Pride Parade. Yeah, we didn't
Yes.
notice.
No. There's also the Liberal Party that also had their own.
I know.
Party.
I saw that. That was ridiculous. Oh my god.
It was for those who didn't.
So cringe.
That's not far from the extent of the entire party. I think that's about half the party right there.
Yep.
There's a video when they had what pans around, and it probably gets a couple more people. They decided to do a whole separate Liberal Pride party on their own.
Did they actually think that all of their staffers were going to come and celebrate with these fucking genocide enabling pieces of shit?
I think this is where they're discovering management and employees are not always on the same page.
100. They're about to fucking learn.
Yeah. And as much as they were there, even the management, the workers that were there, didn't always get the memo.
Palestinian Cafe. That's great. That's great.
To which, yeah, I'm just like,
That's fucking great. That's fucking great.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I
I'm
just
like,
did for both of us. That's fucking great.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the fuck?
That's so great.
I'm just like, holy shit.
Oh, crap.
I'm like, it's just, all right, you've done all this work because, like all the like all this this hate towards the Jewish community because of the support for Palestine. I'm going to have my own thing with a cafe in there.
That's awesome.
Just like, what the fuck?
That's great. That's perfect.
So sticking to the Palestinian messaging.
That guy went for the free drinks.
And the trolling.
Yeah. Free
I
drinks.
would totally drink and
It's a
troll.
great idea.
I would totally drink and troll.
And snacks.
Sure.
I'm sure they bought nachos and shit.
I got the feeling it's a cheap snacks party set up. I'd be, you know what? They probably had tickets for the drinks.
Do you think they like? Yeah.
They had
no,
tickets for the drinks.
No, I don't think they did that. Do you?
Yeah, they did. They totally did. It was.
Oh,
I'm
that's good.
guaranteeing you 2 tickets per person. Kind of shit.
I want to
going on.
see their budget and see how much they spent on Pride this year.
I don't know if that'd be public, but I'd be curious to find out. That would be. That'd be one of the. But again, it was just like. Anyways, moving on. This one's an interesting story I wanted to bring up. So, World Court decision on Israel's occupation takes aim at Canadian trade policy. So, this one is a bit of an editorial.
Wake up, people, now. This is how Canada is contributing and why you should be part of this movement and doing something about it because it's your money. Your money. Our
Absolutely.
money.
So, as the story reads, I'm going to read through a brief amount of it because this has less to do about your money and more about that we might be in a bit of legal jeopardy as a
Of course
nation.
we are. 100% we are. This is like that's.
So
But
it
if
had to
people
do-
don't care about the law, they have to care about their money.
Yeah. Exactly. And this
Care
is
about
where you
something here because
yeah,
it's affecting you. It is
it's going
affecting
to
us.
it's going to affect you at some point. So on July 19th, the International
Yes,
Court of
now.
Justice issued a groundbreaking advisory opinion affirming that Palestinians, legal scholars, and many observers have argued for years Israel's 57-year occupation of Palestine's territory is illegal and must end. That's based on the 1967 war. While it has been established for decades that many of Israel's actions as an occupying power are illegal, for example, its colonial settlement activity that is systematically taking over Palestinian land, the world's top court has determined that these actions have rendered the occupation itself unlawful. According to the ICJ, and without any ambiguity, Israel's continued presence in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza, collectively referred to as the OPT, or Occupied Palestinian Territories, is illegal. Oh, thank you. The ICJ concluded that that Israel is under an obligation to bring to an end its unlawful presence in the OPT as rapidly as possible, as well as to evacuate all Israeli settlers and allow displaced Palestinians to return home.
To their
The
homes.
ICJ, but the ICJ has determined that states like Canada have an obligation to help bring Israel's unlawful occupation to an end. In doing so, the ICJ presents a fundamental challenge to several facets of Canadian policy, which must radically change in order to comply with the obligations described by the ICJ. Canadians for Peace and Justice in the Middle East identified at least 7 major policy changes required of Canada. I will focus on 2: Canada's free trade deal and arms trade with Israel.
The free trade deal that they renewed during this occupation.
Yeah. Canada is already violating its obligations per the ICJ opinion through their Canada-Israel Free Trade Agreement. Its advisory opinion, the ICJ concluded that states, including Canada, are under obligation to structure their economic relations with Israel so that they do not contribute to its illegal presence in the OPT. Specifically, the ICJ found that states are obliged to distinguish in their dealings with Israel between the territory. Oh, thank you much again. Between the territory
of the state of Israel and the OPT. 2, to
Correct.
abstain from treaty relations with Israel in all cases in which it purports to act on behalf of the OPT. 3, abstain from entering into economic or trade dealings with Israel concerning the OPT or part thereof which may entrench its unlawful presence in the territory. And 4, take steps to prevent trade or investment relations to assist in the maintenance of the illegal situation created by Israel in the occupied Palestinian territories.
Furthermore, Canada is violating every one of these directives through CIFTA, doing the exact opposite of what the ICJ requires. CIFTA is unique among bilateral agreements in that it does not only apply to the territory of the 2 parties involved, Canada and Israel, but has also been extended to the OPT. Palestinians are not a party to the agreement, nor have they given their consent to be included under it. Despite this, under CIFTA, all trade of these regions is treated as if it was Israeli, without making the distinction between Israel, its illegal settlements, or Palestinians under occupation. As CJPME argued in a report issued last year, titled "Annexing Palestine Through Trade," Canada's trade policy treats the OPT as formally annexed by Israel. By distributing free trade benefits to Israel's illegal settlements, Canada directly provides a material incentive for Israel to continue and expand its illegal presence. The International Court of Justice could not be more clear on these matters. Canada's trade policy with Israel very directly facilitates Israel's continued illegal presence in the OPT.
We are
rewarding
literally
legal
complicit.
Exactly. To comply with its obligations per the ICJ, Canada must cancel CIFTA, prohibit all trade with goods and services with Israel settlements, and as well as any other Israeli sectors that help maintain the occupation.
Okay, just a
That's
sec.
the first part. Go for it before we get to the next part.
So it is incumbent on every single one of my forever liberal friends who are still, listen, I get that we cannot have Pierre Poilievre as the prime minister, and that very positive things happened through the Trudeau administration for Canadians. However, genocide is not a compromise. Genocide is not the compromise. And so it is incumbent on every single one of us to nonstop demand that we end this trade agreement with Israel, a ceasefire. Like, we need to be very clear about what our demands are from our MPs, and people need to start organizing and dealing with your MPs. Like, anyways, that's what I want to say.
You can ask for more. You can ask for better.
You have to. It's not even you can. You have to. People are literally dying, and now they're attacking the West Bank. This wasn't about Gaza. This wasn't about Hamas. It never was. This is about wiping out the Palestinians. They said they would never touch West Bank. They said they would never touch Rafah. They said they would never,
the entire time.
and they would never, and they blamed the Palestinians for raping, and they did all this stuff, and it was all them. So how much more does anybody need to see right now to grasp the importance of doing something, a lot of things, to make this end? And again, this trade agreement, this is us, like the ICJ has told us, we are breaking the fucking law.
This agreement is bad. The next one we're going to discuss is
very bad.
Fucking worse. It's this one bad. The next one fucking worse. Because the next one has to do with Canada-Israel arms trade. So this one I've been discussing it a little bit. I've even gone to Boost. We even discussed it last week. But so there's a bit of repetition here. You guys are going to hear. If you're listening to us last week, if not, please listen in carefully, because this is worse. Canada's exports of military goods and technology to Israel have skyrocketed in the recent years, with a record-breaking $30 million worth of weapons transferred last year. While Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly says Canada has paused new export permits to Israel since January 2024. Significant loopholes and exclusions remain, allowing a significant...
A lie. Those are lies. Keep going.
Well, we'll discuss this after, because we're going to go into the whole details of everything that circumvents this, and this is exactly the point here. Significant loopholes and exclusions remain, allowing a significant amount of volume of trade to be to continue uninterrupted. As of August 2024, nearly 95 million worth of active permits are still expected to ship to Israel in coming months. And Canada is allowing the
95 million.
Yeah. And Canada is allowing the United States to obtain 50,000 highly explosive mortars from Quebec-based enterprise and transfer them to the Israeli military, bypassing Canada's arms control regime altogether. So, as I've been mentioning and talking about quite a bit lately, we can embargo Israel all we want by saying there's no new contracts towards Israel. But what the fuck's the use of that if we can just go sideways and like sell to the States and they'll ship to Israel?
That's exactly what. Yes, that's exactly what we. I took a workshop on just that. What was happening in Canada, and I posted about it. It's somewhere in my Twitter.
Yep.
That we can't even. We don't even know the statistical number of the amount of our weapons end up at Israel through that specific thing, where we send it to the United States, who will then send it to Israel, or send it to another country that will then send it to Israel. We can't get access. There's no FOI that would give us access to those numbers.
So that particular information was from the Maple. They got the information in regards to the Quebec company.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. That particular one came across, and they got that information because that information was published and it was made available to them.
That's why we
You're
were
absolutely
protesting
right.
the EDC on
Yeah.
April 15th, one of the
But
days
I think
from my charges.
I wanted to score a particular point you made, which was yes, we got that one because that was available. There's a lot of contracts we're not going to know about. That's
That's
going
right.
to states. And
That's right.
That's the bigger problem. What
Yep.
we know, we can yell and scream about, and not much can be done. There's going to be more that we don't even know.
Well,
that
we need
our
to deal
work
with the stuff that
going
we do know, though. And we do know that $28 million of our money was approved this year to send to Israel before they made their March resolution, which is a load of crap.
Yep.
And we know that just because they're not renewing new contracts, they have $95 million of existing contracts that they plan on just fulfilling,
As the
even
statement
though
says
they
here.
know that it's
Yep.
a genocide.
As the statement says here, there is no question that Canada's military trade with Israel assists in the maintenance of Israel's unlawful occupation. The export of weapons and military technology to Israel directly supports its military control over the OPT, while the import of Israeli weapons indirectly supports the occupation by sustaining the country's defense industry and legitimizing its testing of new weaponry on Palestinians. Canada must put an end to both by imposing a comprehensive two-way arms embargo under the Special Economic Measures Act.
Oh, good. We have a special act just for that. Use it.
Yeah. For some reason, it just doesn't qualify for some
You
reason.
can use the Emergencies Act. You can use this act. This one is use it. Like,
Yeah.
fuck. Funny.
Final paragraph. What rules-based order? For all the talk from Foreign Minister Jolie and Trade Minister Mary Ng about the international rules-based order, Canadians might imagine that their government would take the opinion of the ICJ into consideration when it formulates its approach. History suggests that this is not likely. Successful liberal and conservative governments have introduced trade policies that directly support Israel's illegal occupation of Palestinian territory, while shielding Israel from accountability on the international stage.
Yep.
This has occurred despite clear violations of international law, such as a 2004 ICJ advisory opinion that Israel's apartheid wall that cuts through the occupied West Bank is illegal. That wall still stands today. Nonetheless, the clarity of the ICJ opinion, when combined with the possibility of arrest warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu from the International Criminal Court, provides civil society with powerful tools to hold our government accountable for its complicity in Israel's crimes. We're now complicit.
Now, we've been complicit the whole time. We've been kicking and screaming about it the whole time. People weren't
You're right.
listening. But I hope you listen now because the courts have ruled. We're not just fucking saying this shit. It was actually happening.
Just going to comment that as Deana's throwing the ball, she's worked up.
I am fucking worked up, actually. Totally worked up.
I could feel the worked up.
By the way, this is the best thing I frickin' ever bought in a really long time. I got it from the Lebanese festival, and it is really great. I'm addicted. I just dropped it, though. I didn't look.
That's why it's got a string.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so. I mean, we're complicit in that. We keep screaming up a little bit faster here. We're complicit. We need to keep pressuring the government, and you know what? Keep writing to your representatives. Keep writing to them, going, listen. You're not listening to us.
Protest.
We don't want to be. Yeah. Keep protesting. Come out. Show up.
In front of their
Be
offices.
louder. Yeah. And if not, write to their offices, email them, do everything.
Do it all.
Just be loud.
Yep.
Absolutely. And tell them, And also, if they're not moving, keep pushing the other parties. Don't bother with CPC. They're quite in their particular space. push the NDP. They've already said they want ceasefire. See if we can get them further.
Well, they have.
See if we can get them to
They're-
talk about arms embargo. If enough people push them, they will. They will go.
I thought they called for an arms embargo. They didn't.
I don't know. So don't quote me on that one.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but they definitely called for ceasefire. Arms embargo, I'm not sure. I'd like to see that, and if they have, absolutely send it over to me. I will promote that idea because I'm not against it. Moving on to this Saturday, which some people may or may not know. Somebody's coming back to town.
What a big mistake he's making coming back to town.
Adrien Thomas, along with
Oh,
Jeremy and
Adrien.
Angel, will be making their return to Ottawa this weekend. This comes from us, from our favorite cookie lady, the cookie lady. There's only one.
Vicky.
Don't accept any imposters. So, as I said, call out to farmer groups, farmers, traditional people, human beings. Join us, Confederation Park in Ottawa, Ontario, this coming Saturday, August 31st, 2024, between 10:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. I'm like, all right, that's a long time for 3 people, but go ahead. Things getting busier and busier every day. Tonight at 9 p.m. Atlantic, we'll be live, blah, blah, blah. I will be noting questions, and we will be, Thor and I are also looking for a place to stay in southern New Brunswick the next 2 nights for a drive from the New Brunswick Nova Scotia border to Sussex in Thursday morning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's I feel I'm trying to read this correctly, but the words are not
Dudes
correct.
can't even fucking pay for an Airbnb on their trip
Or write a
or
message.
whatever, and they want to rule this country.
If you can help with either of these things, please reach out. It'll be great.
Johnny Fondue tweeted about Adrien today, did a thread. It was fantastic. It started with, "Hey, CPAC, can you please not, can you try not to put people with Nazi tattoos up?"
We'll get to the ZPAC thing, because again, jumping ahead. So on top of the fact that they're going to be showing up,
Fucking
those
Kelly.
individuals,
Idiotic little twit.
dear old Kellyanne Wolf has also come out and said yes, that she's going to be joining them and supporting them, and again also tweeting about the Confederation Park and the Cowboys and Indians and that particular image, which I'm quite happy we're not showing because it can be problematic on some of the platforms. So once we found out Kellyanne Wolf was going to be there was also an additional message saying that she's going to be on CPAC and then she's going to be joining them the next day. And so a lot of people asked the question if they're going to be bringing dear old that's the wrong button.
Reimer.
They're gonna, not Reimer. If they're going to bring Thomas onto the CPAC messaging in regards to finding out if he's going to be there on CPAC with all his National Socialist Party discussion. Well, you know what? Turns out, yes.
So less than 48 hours from now, I'll be in Ottawa. I'll be doing a, CPAC interview in Ottawa. I think Montreal or Ottawa. I don't really know the 100% details because it's not my territory or, city. But I'm flying out, from Edmonton on Friday morning, early in the morning, and I should be there in the afternoon in Ottawa. So just letting you guys know that everything is going well on my end over here as well too. I gotta stop and drop off some paperwork or have a brief synopsis of what the idea is in regards to a different political organization that we're working with in regards to having set.
Thoughts?
Fuck these people. Oh, fucking fucked. He's like a full-blown Nazi, and he totally admits he's a Nazi. He just says that Nazi is the German way of saying it. Yes, it is.
That's the German way of saying what?
National Socialist.
But it's not It's nationalist, but it's not socialist. They're
That's
asking
what
for is not
Nazi is.
socialist.
Yes, it is.
No,
They're National
no,
Socialists.
that's what the word is, but the movement is not socialist.
Oh,
It's
whatever
yeah.
they called themselves that.
Yeah, they call themselves that. It just wasn't that.
Yeah.
It's a whole misconception. So he's gonna go down there. He's gonna wave his flag and whatnot. Now, a little background in regards to Adrien Thomas. I'm going to play a recording that we played in an earlier episode about last year. And this ties into the next story that goes with this, and that has to do with the STC, the Save the Children convoy.
I'm telling you, I'm in the inner circle. I know. There's very few of us that are in the inner circle. I happen to be lucky to be one of them. I know the plan. We're going to do a convoy, and we're going to Toronto. Toronto's the destination.
No, Toronto is the
It's
destination.
not only Toronto, but we're going to go to the financial district in Toronto.
Yep.
And we're going to surround that. And we're going to put blockades up, and we're going to hold that ground.
Right.
And we're not going to move. And there's plans in place to make that work, the financial district.
Yeah.
Downtown
Yeah,
financial district.
basically. So you're, it's gonna be like a one block area?
It's a big area, but it'll probably be several blocks. But they're gonna block that whole area off. And we're gonna dig a tunnel, essentially. Now, we already know what's gonna happen. They're gonna bring in thugs,
Yes.
like they did in Ottawa. They're gonna come in and move around us. But the plan is, when they get everybody in, so to speak, there's another larger group of people going to come and surround them. So now they can't move forward and they can't move back.
Yep.
They can't be resupplied. They can't be anything.
Yep.
We got them.
That's right.
Right. And no violence.
No, makes sense.
We're going to all have white flags, peace, 18 by 18 inches. White flag means peace, means parley as well.
Truce.
And if anything was to even come out of a gun, a projectile, a rubber bullet, whatever, from that side against a white flag, that's an international incident.
Yep.
You can
That's
ask
right.
any nation in the world that follows that protocol for help. Right? One of those nations that happens to follow that is United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
And as you guys know, they're already watching this country intently.
Oh my God.
They're not pleased about the Chinese infiltration.
That's right. No.
We have friends.
There's enough there. Aside from Palestinians, they can probably come up going, yeah, or Israelis themselves going up, like, yeah, the white flag didn't save our asses. Because
It was funny when she's like, the white flag means truce. Truce? You're surrounding people and locking them in, and you're waving a truce flag? Is that. Fuck, these people are just so.
They are. So more on this plan that came out this week. In fact, even yesterday and today. And thanks again to Cookie Lady. We're going to get some more information here.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Gary in Northern Ontario. We're getting ready for what is coming up in Quebec. And I want you to know I'm only supporting Quebec. And for right now, and we want to keep in mind that I have nothing to do with Adrien, Angel, or Jeremy Gibson. In my frame of mind, they are doing things in a dangerous way. They are looking to get people hurt. They are the ones that talk about overthrowing a government. So this is nothing about division, but they are dangerous people, and this is about Canada. So let's worry about Canada right now. Let's support Quebec. And anyways, people, I called out a few other people yesterday, that have been in these movements. And I immediately say some of them that I probably didn't use the word some of them, because I sometimes don't use the right words, and I've said that to you before because I speak right from the heart. But when I called them out, I at one point said that I'm not going to get involved with anyone who's trying to overthrow a government. Immediately, Jeremy Gibson jumped right on that, thought it was all about him. It's not about him, okay? I have different reasons that I don't want to have anything to do with him. He thinks he's a messiah. He has said on a lie that he is a chosen one.
Oh, dear.
But excuse me, only God chooses people. You don't appoint yourself as the chosen one, right? And not only that, several women have come forward and accused him of abuse. I grew up in a abusive relationship with my mother defending me. So I am against any type of abuse with women. So I definitely am against that. So what I am going to say also, if all these women were lying, Jeremy, why don't you come out of hiding and prove yourself? I realize that you are hiding on a native reserve where the police can't go in and touch you. If you were really innocent of these, why wouldn't you stand up and face them? That's the only other thing I have. And I wasn't accusing you definitely of overthrowing the government, but it is people that you have united with that have talked about it. The failed plan of, going in and protesting, because this already failed, so I can get it out there now. The failed plan of the protests that you people were all organizing, where you were going to, not all of these, let me get that right, but certain individuals. And some of them, you may know who these people are. And I'm not going to bring any names in anymore. That's it. Done. That was my first mistake. I shouldn't have done that. And I'll admit to my mistakes. But you're aligned with people that were going to start a protest. First wave come in. When the police moved in, the second wave, you're going to have all native warriors come in behind them and surround them. And then you were going to storm Parliament and arrest people. Remember those plans that didn't go through for you because you didn't get the numbers? I was right there on the front lines, and that's why I backed off from that shit. Now, that is not the way to go, and keep in mind that you're aligned with the wrong people, and they have a different agenda than you, Jamie, or Jeremy. So you need to, give your head a shake. If you are innocent with all these women coming forward accusing of you of these crimes, then step forward.
He's not.
We have other things to worry about in this country. We need to move forward. We need to unite as one group, Canadians, right across this country. We are all Canadians here. And I'm not going to fight with any of you or accuse anyone of anything anymore. We got more important things to do. I'm going to try to rise above this, and maybe you can try to rise above this too, Jeremy. So, moving forward.
What's the problem with calling them out? Don't you want other people to know that what they're doing is dangerous? Like, why do you have a problem with calling these names out? Call the fucking name out. Always. Yep. Like, you owe it to anybody who would trust these people to do any of the shit that they're trying to do.
Yep.
Yeah. So corroborated. These guys are violent. Who's these people?
Sorry? Yeah.
Who is Angel and who is Jeremy? Do we have pictures of these people?
I don't have a picture. So Jeremy's the only one I'm not as familiar with. Obviously, Adrien Thomas. Angel, you do know. She was the one last year that went to, I believe, close to Cenotaph and held the Thunderbird flag.
Oh, right.
That was her.
Right. And she talks a lot and she props up Adrien. I think she might be in love with him or something.
Yeah, probably.
Looks like it. Anyway. Yeah.
So that's them. Jeremy, I'm not as familiar with, but yeah, obviously Jeremy's got a bit of a legal issue going on.
Does he?
That's what Gary was talking about.
Oh, right. No, he didn't say there was legal issues. He just said women confided in him, saying that they have been abused by this guy. Doesn't mean he has legal issues. Women don't generally go and report these things. They just talk about it because
they don't trust the police.
That's right.
That's fair. So it does kind of add to the whole story that we've heard since last year, which is there was a plan to try to overthrow the government again
Hmm.
in a violent way.
Well, he just corroborated that story again.
Exactly. And that's all I wanted to bring up. Let's go to Montreal.
Okay. Yeah, this is the last story, eh? Because we're late.
It is.
This is a
And this
big
is the
one,
one
too.
we were talking about at the beginning. Liberal staffers pull support for party in Montreal by-election, citing government stance on Gaza. In a letter to PM, more than 50 political staff say they will not support partisan activity. Now, there's a lot to this, so we're going to try to go through it as quickly as possible, but try to highlight the key points.
Are we reading it?
We are. We've got
Let me read
fair
it,
amount-
please. Do you mind if I
you-
read it this time?
You get to read it. You get to
Thank
read
you.
into it.
Because this is a great story.
Absolutely.
This is the one that's giving me hope. So the Liberal Party of Canada is facing a revolt by ministerial staffers, mostly of Arab and Muslim origin, over the Trudeau government's handling of the war in Gaza and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict generally. 52 Arab and Muslim staffers working in the Liberal government signed a letter addressed to the leader of the Liberal Party that says they will not participate in its by-election campaign to hold on to the seat of La Salle, Aymar, and Verdun, left vacant by the resignation of former Liberal Justice Minister David Lametti. Referring to the increasing push for Liberal staff members to phone bank and door knock, the letter obtained by CBC News warns that while many of us started our political careers in elections as volunteers, we can no longer, in good conscience, campaign for a party that excludes us and our values. Staffers are not acting alone. They have also asked for and received the support of a group of influential Arab and Muslim donors to the Liberal Party known as the Network 100 GTA, London, Ottawa, Montreal. Back in November, the network announced it was pulling out of the Liberal Party's top donor ranks over Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's disinclination said Hussein Hamdani, a founding member of that fundraising group, in an interview with CBC News. We held back our money, sure. They're putting their own livelihood at risk, he said. I'm hoping that the party recognizes that this is not some people who may or may not be donating, he added. Maybe they think they can find other donors, but you can't just find 50 staff overnight. What the staff are really trying to do is help the Liberal Party wake up, and they're taking this extreme step to do so.
I want to take a minute before we continue on, just to acknowledge that particular point that Hassan made there.
Yeah.
Hassan's group, the Network 100, they were giving donations. They just held back those donations.
Yep.
That's not really an effort on their part. We give you money or we don't. Doesn't affect them at the end of the day, except for what clout they have with the party. These 50 staffers, we're giving up our income because we don't believe in what you're doing.
Yeah. They explain it a little bit later in the article too.
Absolutely. We're going to get into it too, but it's just, I want to make sure everybody remembers that as we're going to go
sacrifice.
Into it
Yes. They are
Absolutely.
completely putting it all on the line.
They absolutely are. So
Yep.
I'm going to continue here.
The donors have also said they will withhold their support from the government in the crucial by-election where the Liberals face a strong challenge from the New Democrats. In their letter, staffers indicate they will not participate in activities as party members until the government changes its diplomatic posture to join our allies in explicitly condemning Israel for its numerous war crimes and for the genocidal rhetoric from members of the Israeli cabinet. They also demand that Canada join our allies, including Norway, Spain, and Ireland, in recognizing the state of Palestine and acknowledge anti-Palestinian racism as a unique form of hate and work to address it in Canada. The staffers also echo the NDP's demand that the government revoke existing arms export permits to Israel and close loopholes that allow Canadian-made arms to be shipped through third countries. Finally, they call for an end to all research collaboration on military and dual-use technologies between Canadian and Israeli researchers. A statement from the Prime Minister's office did not directly address the demands in the letter, but said Canada continues to call for an immediate ceasefire. Blah, blah, blah. We fully stand behind the comprehensive ceasefire deal outlined by President Biden and endorsed by the UN Security Council, the statement said. We call on all parties to the conflict to agree to the deal. Any delay will only see more lives lost. Blah, blah, blah. The statement also said Hamas must lay down its arms and release all hostages, demanded civilians be protected, and called for a sustained increase in the flow of humanitarian assistance throughout Gaza. Pause here. Hey, we just went over what the ICJ ruled, so resistance is justified when people are occupied. It was not a terrorist attack on October 7th. It was trying to get free from their fucking genocidal oppressors. Back to the article. A Liberal Party spokesman did not directly address the demands, but said Canadians choose to engage in our democratic process for a variety of reasons, including to support a specific cause or policy position. The Liberal Party of Canada firmly believes that everyone should feel safe, welcome, and included in our movement, and will continue working very hard to engage volunteers and supporters on their priorities to keep moving forward. The statement said, I hope they're understanding that we are getting really bored and tired of these fucking fluffy ass, no commitment statements. We don't care. It's garbage.
It's losing. It's a position that's losing traction for them.
Yeah, 100. So this is the Montreal by-election, a critical test. Trudeau already suffered a serious setback in a by-election in the riding of Toronto-St. Paul's, where the party lost a once safe seat to the Conservatives. The Montreal by-election is seen as another test of Trudeau's electability, as his party continues to trail in the polls. The Liberal Party's decision to withdraw from the Capitol Pride March in Ottawa after Organized released a pro-Palestinian statement on August 6 was one of the factors that triggered the staffers' decision, the letter said. I want you guys to hold on to that. Next.
Okay, you recognize the exact statement.
100%. 100%, you guys.
Yeah.
Let's keep reading so that they can see more of this.
Oh, yeah.
That statement had committed the Capitol Prize organization to recognizing the ongoing genocide against Palestinians in opening remarks at Pride events. It also condemned in the strongest possible terms the acts of terrorism and the atrocities committed against civilians on October 7, 2023 by Hamas. A group representing the 2S LGBTQ staffers already sent a letter to the party protesting that decision on August 23rd. Staffers told CBC News they were taken aback by the party's decision to boycott the event over a statement that they said did not seem out of line with past positions taken by the Government of Canada. Ottawa Mayor Mark Sutcliffe also decided to boycott the parade over its support for Palestinian causes, though a number of city councillors took part, as did the capital's medical officer of health. Staffers alleged double standards in the workplace. Staffers told CBC News their decision to refuse to participate in campaigning was not only a response to the party's boycott of Capitol Pride, but also reflects anger at the perceived double standard within the party. They said there was anger that Liberal MPs and staffers, some of whom have relatives in Gaza, were reprimanded or told to keep their views to themselves, while Liberal MP Anthony Housefather was given free rein to criticize his own party and openly speculate about leaving it, only to be rewarded in July with a new appointment as the Prime Minister's Special Advisor on Anti-Semitism and Jewish Affairs, everybody. Political staffers are non-unionized and can be hired and dismissed at will. They are often called upon to volunteer their time during the campaign season, but said they will not respond to those calls until the party changes direction. Until we are no longer ashamed to tell our communities and families that we are actively campaigning for the Liberal Party, we will be pausing partisan activity, they said in a statement. The group had previously written a letter to Trudeau in November of 2023, appealing for Canada to take a stronger role in demanding a ceasefire in Gaza. That's 1 month later, folks. That letter, after October 7th, that letter asked for changes, but did not threaten specific actions, such as a refusal to campaign for the party.
Before we continue, I just want to pause for, until we are no longer ashamed to
Correct.
tell our communities and families that we are actively campaigning for the Liberal
Yep.
Party. We will not be. We will be pausing partisan activity. No longer ashamed. You are making people that are volunteering their time to you ashamed to do that.
Volunteering and working there, 100. Even working there, they're giving up their livelihoods because they're ashamed to be working there.
That's a very strong message.
Fucking right.
'Cause
And the
we
double
want-
standards, having Anthony Housefather
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
yap his goddamn Zionist, racist, piece of shit, genocidal mouth.
Pause it. We'll definitely go into Faust Father in this.
Fucking hate
Let's
that guy.
finish it. We got 2 more slides.
Okay. The new letter refers to the last attempt to influence government policy. Over the past months, we have expressed our growing concerns in relation to the human rights violations experienced by Palestinians and advocated for a change in policy towards a posture that is aligned with our values, the letter reads. We have often felt unheard by the leadership of our party. Staffers told CBC News they were reluctant to damage their party's chances in the Montreal by-election and would deliver the letter privately to the Prime Minister to avoid embarrassing the ministers they work for. Staffers from almost every minister's office have signed the letter. No one wants to see Canada where Pierre Poilievre is Prime Minister, the letter reads, but you cannot take advantage of our labor at home while perpetuating our dehumanization abroad. As staff members, we are caught in an extremely difficult position, but we have a moral obligation to advocate for those who cannot advocate for themselves. Staffers told CBC News they're frustrated that ministers in cabinet who wanted to see Canada take a stronger position against the war in Gaza are being overruled by more pro-Israeli cabinet members who enjoy the backing of the Prime Minister.
Don't even know where to start with this one.
Like, those people are heroes.
Yeah. So
that
there's
are
50
doing
staffers
this.
there that are absolutely phenomenal. Period.
And you have them, if I read it correctly, essentially condemning, as well as that 2S LGBTQ group that wrote a letter, condemning their position on Pride.
Yep.
Like, this is what I want to see is Arabs and Muslims in solidarity with the Pride community on behalf of a cause that is a worthy cause, and to not get all fucking mixed up in any other bullshit that people are trying to mix them up in. This is the true those people make me proud because they represent the Arab Palestinian at the same time as showing solidarity with the
We got you.
in Canada, not the shit that you saw last year.
This is exactly it. So this is kind of it's a kind of a weird thing to say, but this is kind of an enjoyable thing to see in regards to solidarity growing.
Yeah.
And I think there's this bit of a highlight there in regards to like these 50 staffers got
52
motivated by the fact that Liberal Party decided, like, yeah, we're not going to go in Pride because they're talking about Gaza. Excuse me?
Right.
Like, and regardless of the whole thing, to them it was the final straw, which was phenomenal to see. To say, because again, a lot of these staffers, the 50 staffers, and I'm sure there's, I'm not going to say the number because I have no idea, but as they said, the article said, some of them were directly affected by Gaza because they had family in Gaza.
Yep.
They have family that may not have family anymore in Gaza. And to say, like, oh yeah, that very benign message that some of us even were saying, like, it's not really strong enough.
I was critical of it.
Yes, I recall you and I were discussing it, and I remember you were quite critical of it, going, it's not quite strong enough. And I remember you and I having a very long discussion, like, it's not critical enough. You're right. But it's fantastic because it's not critical enough, and these people are triggered so hard by something that's not.
Yeah, you know what bothers me the most, and I'm still reading about it, and I need it to stop. This bothers me the most is when they keep talking about the atrocities on October 7th. Let us be clear about what happened on October 7th, everybody. Let us be clear that a majority of the people who died on October 7th were of the Hannibal Directive, which is the Israeli army passed down that directive to start bombing the shit out of stuff, out of those places where the hostages and soldiers, or not the soldiers, the hostages were hiding, and even trying to run to cars and getting shot by their own officers because of the Hannibal Directive. So let's be clear about that part. Let's be clear about what happened prior to October 7th, that this is a resistance to their occupation. You now know that these Palestinian people have been raped. It doesn't matter their age. It doesn't matter their gender. They are being raped and sodomized, and they have been this entire time. It didn't just happen after October 7th. We know all of these crimes that Israel has been projecting onto the Palestinians were actually the Israelis who were doing it. And now that you have that all in context, you cannot with good conscience call what happened on October 7th a terrorist attack, or that Hamas is a terrorist organization. You cannot do that once you have all of the context, and we have it now. And so I don't want to see that in statements anymore. I don't want to condemn October 7th.
I've also gotten, a fair amount of people like, oh, well, this is, Israel hasn't done this. This is a lie. This is fake news and whatnot. This is not. And I will say the one straight out thing, Israel is not denying using sexual assault against Palestinian prisoners. They are openly trying to justify it.
No, they're not denying it. They're not even just trying to justify it. They legalized it. They fucking legalized it. Like it is now part of their fabric of their fucking country on how they can behave. And there was an article that was put out a few years back, not even now, showing that a lot of sex offenders have moved to Israel because it's a safe haven for sex offenders. And there is a map with registered sex offenders. This is why they think rape is okay, because they wanted it to be okay wherever they fucking came from. Like, I don't know. I'm just so baffled. But anyways, all of this stuff that I'm saying is all verifiable and all evidence within the ICJ's hands. Excuse me, for them to make their ruling. So stop saying October 7th was a terrorist attack, please, because it's like giving me a fucking headache. It's not a terrorist attack. It wasn't a terrorist attack. Fuck, they kidnap people's children. They fucking take their homes. People are walking around displaced. They burned down this woman's home their restaurant and their home. They bulldozed it 10 fucking times and they rebuilt it 10 times. And now she just lost it to a settler. It was her land. It was her, like this was just on. This is what has been happening for years and years and years. People are crying because they had to put a fucking vaccine in their body and they wanted to overthrow the government. What would you do if people were coming and taking your fucking home and killing your fucking family in front of you or raping your mother in front of you? Like, please put this into context and stop fucking calling October 7th a goddamn terrorist attack. Rant over.
There we go. That will be our end of the show. So that's it for us. I'm trying to end it for us here, as I'm not prepared because
we're gonna go down memory lane.
We're gonna be join us back again this Friday as we're going to be doing our next live.
Yep.
And again, don't forget. Yes, TikTok and Twitch. Don't forget to join us. And again, sorry?
Just listen to my song.
Listen to her song. First of all, if you can donate, don't forget, we're still collecting funds for Deana's legal defense. As again,
I prefer to say listen to my song.
I'm going to say donate directly to help the funds.
Sure.
And if you can't, more than understandable. You can also listen to the song. It's on most platforms. Go look on yours. And if you can't find it, message me. I'll see
It's
if I can
not
help
on
you.
iCloud. I signed up for iCloud and I couldn't find it.
It's on iTunes, not
Oh, what's
iCloud.
iCloud?
iTunes. iCloud's like OneDrive.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you get that for free for like a little bit? Maybe now I have some more space for my shit. Fuck. My OneDrive is almost full and I paid for a terabyte. That's a lot of fucking information.
Oh, Deana. Oh, Deana.
I don't want to go through a terabyte worth of shit and delete stuff.
I know, but it's just,
I'm an information hoarder.
clearly, you need to just end the whole hoarding.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll hopefully join you guys again on Friday night. Till then,
You're going to go down memory lane.
a little bit.
Good morning, Lower Town. It is 0700. What's the O stand for? Oh my god, it's early. Look where I am. Imagine that. Trolls. Still here.